Yeah, good evening. So I shall just have a brief presentation on research in the post-COVID era. Basically, principles that were taken for granted with regards to ethics overview, with regards to consent, but they do not become so much feasible in this era of COVID, social distancing, etc. So it shall be a very brief presentation, and I shall just overview the principles of ethical principles in the context of COVID-19 research and what are COVID-19 specific databases. So how do you do ethics committee in times of social distancing? How do you ensure adherence to ethical practices? How do you ensure consent? How do you collect samples for analysis from COVID-19 patients? And how do you ensure safety of healthcare workers involved in research? And what about non-COVID research during these times? So these are some of the ideas that I shall touch upon. Fortunately, our Indian Council of Medical Research, apart from doing so much work on COVID, has published a national guidelines for ethics committees reviewing biomedical and health research during COVID-19 pandemic. And this is the document that I shall refer to. It's available free of cost on the ICMR website. So I would suggest that those of you interested in more details could please download this document and have a look. So here, basically, they recognize the emergency circumstances that have rendered participants vulnerable to be coerced to participate. Patients with COVID-19 may not have access to formal or informal support. They're in the hospital, isolated, alone, away from their families. And social distancing norms may not facilitate conventional methods of data collection, or alternative study designs might be required, such as online or remote methods to conduct interviews, focus groups, surveys, or questionnaires. And social media research is something which Dr. Latika has extensively talked about and is gaining much more relevance in these times. For obtaining quality data, verification of identity of research participants is another challenge. In a clinic, you are seeing the participant face to face, but here you are exchanging information at the best electronically. So you need to be careful and include security measures in your data collection tools, and identifying information may be collected if you are doing online based surveys. So this might also require review by the ethics committee on a case to case basis. Overall, with respect to surveys, particularly surveys of educational practices, the Indian Council of Medical Research is very categorical that you do not need a full ethics committee overview. You just require a exemption from review. You need to inform the ethics committee that you're doing this study, and more or less they would just not take it up for review and give you an exemption from review. So now there are three categories of research: new research directly related to COVID-19, ongoing non-COVID research, and new non-COVID research. So again, the ethics committee has to prioritize research review based on urgency and take needful steps to facilitate review of new research, and also conduct ongoing research with needful amendments, keeping in mind social distancing norms. And this could be done by meeting through video conference or WhatsApp calls or Zoom calls like we are on right now. Ethics committee should ensure that all COVID-19 related research that are clinical trials are registered on the Clinical Trials Registry of India with appropriate approvals as usual. And member secretary might categorize proposals into exempt or expedited or full review category as per ethical guidelines, and may plan to fast track their peer review, a review of the ethics committee application, so that uh, research can be done and important information which can potentially save lives can be shared as fast as possible. Again, expedited review and scheduled full review committee meetings can be done on case-to-case basis depending on the urgency. And virtual or tele web conferences should be attempted. Face-to-face can be avoided to observe social distancing norms. And preliminary research procedures sometimes may be permitted to be started, particularly if they're low risk, like they're limited to just anonymized data, biological sample collection. And where members of local ethics committees are unavailable, such research may be conducted by any other ethics committee within the country for initiating the study until the local ethics committee is able to convene its meeting. And the principles, the ethical issues related to reviewing a protocol remain as usual. What are the social values, scientific design and conduct of the study, review of informed consent process, benefit risk assessment, selection recruitment of participants, qualification and adequacy of study sites, and particularly in clinical trials, whether you have any payment for the participants, what are the community considerations, what are the plans for medical management and compensation for study related injury, what are your conflicts of interest, and how do you protect privacy confidentiality. These are the usual measures and these remain the same. So again, virtual meetings should be planned and should be kept short, and the ethics committee may decide to meet more frequently, say for fast tracking proposals within that are submitted so that you can have a quick decision in 1 or 2 days. During the review process, the ethics committee needs to consider whether written consent is possible. If not possible, say patient is in physical isolation, then consent could be given orally, or you could use electronic methods to document this. However, the ethics committee must be aware of such electronic methods. Ongoing study, the principal investigator may be indisposed for a period. These are very uncertain times, so they may need to delegate parts of the study temporarily to other co-investigators, and this should be documented and reported to the ethics committee at the earliest. And therefore, it is important to share information during such a public health emergency, and all efforts should be made to publish the relevant information so that people can benefit from it. Meetings could be digitally recorded with permission of members, and attendance could be noted online rather than through the conventional methods of signing once you attend a meeting. Multicentric research is another challenge, but here the ICMR says that you could have a common review of multicentric research to be carried out by one main designated ethics committee for fast track decision making. And non-COVID research, if it is important to not forget about non-COVID research, particularly that related to treatments for chronic diseases or other non-communicable or communicable diseases. And these must also be taken up by the ethics committee on priority as usual, and not just relegated to the background because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Informed consent, we had already discussed. The elements of informed consent remain the same, but one can use electronic consent in these times. However, you need to document the process, possibly through audio or video recording, and inform the ethics committee that such electronic consent shall be obtained. Waiver of consent can be done in the usual circumstances like retrospective studies, de-identified participants. Anonymized biological samples or data can also be taken for waiver of consent during the COVID-19 pandemic. So that's important for researchers who are working on COVID-19. And then, I mean, with all the fatalities that we're having with this terrible disease, we may not be able to contact the patient back. So even such anonymized biological samples can be potentially permitted for use by the ethics committee, because they could help give important information about this disease, but you may not be able to obtain the usual informed consent. And patients with COVID-19 are a vulnerable population, and so also are the healthcare workers in COVID-19 hospitals, and this must be kept in mind during consent process. Also, safety of healthcare workers involved in COVID-19 research. The safety of healthcare workers must not be jeopardized either to get the sample or to process the sample or to take the informed consent, and prioritize research and schedules to prevent overcrowding, adequate training, appropriate biosafety measures when dealing with biological samples, expose minimum number of researchers, communication using electronic platforms, do protective gear as per the norms, and facilities should have protective gear before they undertake research, and of course safety against any assault from public and others, insurance cover for clinical trials as usual, but you must prioritize the safety of the healthcare workers involved in the research, in collection of samples and taking consent in dealing with the samples. Now coming to a slightly unrelated topic, the Medline has established this site called as LitCovid, which collates all the literature related to COVID-19 that is available on a PubMed search. So you can, for example, you could search about a particular agent and you could get all the information from this site, the up-to-date information. And this is particularly useful for researchers in the time of COVID-19. As you can see, publications related to COVID-19 over a period of time from January it has peaked about mid-May, and now it is continuing at this peak in line with the pandemic peaking all across the world. And as you can see, a lot of research on COVID-19 is being done from the area where it originated, countries which have been greatly affected by it. And we are also contributing significantly to research on COVID-19. And these colored areas are the ones that have published papers in lit COVID on COVID-19. So I would suggest that those of you who are interested in COVID-19, who are managing patients with COVID-19, go and look at this lit COVID site and follow it regularly to identify updates in the specialty. So the world of research shall never be the same circa 2020, unfortunately, as for most things in the world. We are going to enter a new world post-COVID whenever it ends, and norms of ethics committee approval and informed consent have changed, and consider referring to specialist bibliographic databases for up-to-date information on COVID-19. With this, I'd like to conclude, and any questions are most welcome.